The spanking new Google Pixel 7a, a smoother display, a newer processor with more memory, more megapixels on the camera. But here are 7 reasons not to buy this phone. Goedendag, we're DHRME. Don't hesitate reviewing more electronics. Okay. The battery life on the Pixel 7a isn't very different to the 7 or even the 6a. Like many reviewers said, we also had around 20% battery left before bed. This was roughly the case on the 6a and 7 too. They're all basically one-day phones. With heavy use, you'll need a top-up somewhere during the day. So let's talk about that top-up, shall we?
Now the charging situation on this phone makes us, as we say in Dutch, chagrijnig. It sounds like charging but means something completely different. The super slow wire charging at 18 watts didn't change since the Pixel 6a, which we're afraid is just not acceptable in this day and age. Also, considering it's no longer budget territory but more like mid-premium, this is not done. This was something many of you bright viewers asked us about. Does the screen get bright enough outdoors and in direct sunlight? We're sorry to say, but the answer is meh. The auto brightness did work, so it did crank up the screen to max, but the OLED screen was just about usable. Not too great, but also not unusable. Something to keep in mind if you're looking for a phone to be very clear outdoors.
And what's with the wireless charging? 7.5 watts to be exact. Wireless charging sounds great on paper, but if you're using battery-intensive apps like navigation and streaming music, then the 7.5 watts isn't going to do much except keep your battery at the same level. We compared the Pixel 7a with the iPhone 13 Pro on a 15-watt Qi wireless charger for 30 minutes to see how much of a charge it could reach. The Pixel 7a increases battery life with 8%. The iPhone 13 Pro, on the other hand, 22%. And we measured this when we weren't even using the phones. It was so shockingly slow on the Pixel 7 that we ended up grabbing the Type-C cable instead. What's also good to know is that there's no reverse wireless charging. So unlike on the Pixel 7, you can't charge your earbuds or another phone on the back of it.
Look, we're not from the bezels, bad school of thought, but when we unboxed the phone, the big bad bezels did kind of bother us. At first we thought it might have been the contrast between the lighter colored aluminium frame compared to the black frame around the 6a. But after some spec diving, we see that the screen to body ratio on the 7a is lower than the Pixel 6a, 81.8% compared to 83%. So that checked out, unfortunately. A regressive regression of the recent rendition. Sad. The Pixel 7a has a plastic back instead of glass. Now, we mentioned this on our Twitter too. We don't mind plastic backed phones since they're less fragile and lighter weight and you just have to worry less about them in general. But several of you do value the premium heft and how less prone they are to smaller micro scratches. So if that's you, the Pixel 7a ain't for you. Hey, that rhymes.
Hey, that's a beautiful face you got there. The Pixel 7a might not think so, but we do. Another feature which sounds like a game changer on paper, but in reality was a huge letdown, is Face Unlock. It's the same as we had on the Pixel 7, far from the likes of Face ID on the iPhone or even Samsung's Face Unlock. There are also many apps like banking apps that won't even use it for authentication because it's not secure enough. All of this was the exact same on the flagship Pixel 7. The Face Unlock on the 7 and the 7a has a hard time in less than ideal conditions. For example, if the phone is flat on the table and you hover over it to unlock, or the lighting conditions aren't great, or you're wearing sunglasses. What do you do then? Well, you give it the finger instead of the face. And the fingerprint unlock, well, in our opinion, that's just the same as on the Pixel 6a and 7. And if you guys remember, we weren't fans of it. Its reliability is poor, and when that failed, we defaulted back to the pin unlock. Whether you're spending $600 or $300, fingerprint scanners shouldn't need to be this unreliable anymore. And if you're hell-bent on being pixelated at this price, let's talk about the price on the 7a. It's just too close to the Pixel 7, just $100 difference. But if you factor in that the Pixel 7 also gets discounted quite often, then we would opt for the Pixel 7. It gets you better charging speeds, wired 20 watts, wireless 12 watts, and like we said, reverse wireless charging. You get IP68 instead of IP67. Okay, that's not a huge argument, but worth mentioning for the specs geeks out there. You get a bigger 6.3-inch AMOLED display instead of a 6.1-inch OLED display. Google, of course, tries to sweeten the deal by throwing in free Pixel Buds A and a case in select countries. Together, they're worth around $125. But do you need them? There are cheaper alternatives out there, like getting a Spigen case and getting yourself a pair of noise-canceling earbuds like the Jabra Elite 4 Active. Check out our review of that here. Here's what you should do. The Pixel 6a gets you more bang for your buck, and it is to be had for as low as $300. Yes, it's got the Tensor G1, which is no slouch by any means. Yes, it's got a 60Hz refresh rate instead of 90Hz, but that hasn't stopped us from enjoying the phone and recommending it to many family, friends, and even colleagues. And yes, it can shoot in 4K with the front-facing camera if you're into that kind of thing, because most people use their back camera for shooting videos anyway. And the 6a only has a fingerprint unlock and no face unlock. But you know how well that face unlock worked. So are all those extra things worth the extra $150 to $200? And then there's the main camera. The camera hardware on the Pixel 6a is less flashy on paper, but like we've said before, and MKBHD confirmed it in his blind camera test, people love the photos that come out of the tried and tested hardware and software combination on the Pixel 6a. It won the smartphone blind camera test.
Guys, you may not know it, but you are the sponsor of this video. Yes, you there with that beautiful face. All right, we haven't accepted sponsorships from companies whose products we review so far, simply because we want to keep where we get our money from a bit separate from what we actually review. So we're trying to build this independent, informative and entertaining YouTube channel. So thank you so much to all you YouTube members and the patrons. Every last cent that you contribute helps. And who knows, you might actually get a free case.
You've not been swayed by free earbuds and a free case?
And we've been DHRME. Namaste.